actually designs the costumes for a script. So you read it, you try and analyse the characters, you usually have your initial ideas, and then obviously you then work with the director and the actors, and you just try and make a cohesive, interesting group of costumes that work together. I read books 1 and 2, and then I got a bit overwhelmed thinking, there was so much to absorb that I then went back to the script. It was interesting to know the scale of the piece, so that basically you don't use sort of almost over-design the first bit, because otherwise you'll have nowhere to go. So it was trying to pare it down so that each group of people had a look and a colour and a way. And because it's not related to any particular time in history, there's really no starting place. Okay, it's medieval, but it is a fantasy, but there are so many medieval fantasies. I really want to take this somewhere else and just explore a bit more. And so it was just to go away and to really try and think myself into the world and what was practical and necessary. For instance, this was Dinara's wedding dress, and I wanted it to try and be like the colour of the moon. And next to that, then we have Khal Drogo, who, the contrast is quite phenomenal. These are just really rough sketches for Cersei, the robes, and it's a sort of origami, things overlapping and folding in different ways. It's quite kimono-y. It's like a kimono style, but with a slightly medieval cut. Jamie started off with a cape, actually, at the feast, but we decided not to go with it. It's taken, 6 weeks to get there, to really just make it work. You usually have your initial ideas, and then obviously you then work with the director and the actors, and you just try and make a cohesive, interesting group of costumes that work together.
We're kind of lucky enough to realise geographical regions for the show through the costumes and the pieces of armour that these guys are wearing. Put simply, we're making the costume armour for the principal and key secondary characters. We go from the paper design, we'll kind of sculpt up or model up or fabricate in real materials a piece of costume armour based on that design. When we go to first fitting, he gets to try it on and get a feel for it and see if he's happy with it. We have to fit that extremely well, almost like a fitted suit. And from that point, we kind of get to the final manufacture. We do the finishing, and we would build, usually in real materials, so it's steels and leathers and chainmails and brass and so on, to make some kind of functional but hopefully quite a nice looking piece that these guys are going to be happy with. We made the principal armours, and we made a second set again that was individually fitted for the stunt riders. It was quite a thing to take on because it essentially doubles the amount of work. And we worked very closely with the stunt riders. Lots of swinging the arms around and, checking movement across the shoulders and so on. The principal guys, there's just as much work and just as much consideration to comfort and movement. These guys will be wearing these costumes for 8 to 12 hours a day, and as well as feeling great, they've got to feel comfortable. Let's say in Loris's case, we have tailored and almost a traditional armour base, develops quite an organic kind of growth into these thorny rose vines that come up and spread over the shoulders and into the helmet around the visor and ultimately across the top of the head. So we originate for the lead actor, then we originate again for the stunt guy, and it was quite a complex thing to realise. The real payoff is when the actor gets in the fitting room, it kind of helps him kind of realise who he wants to be, and you